Now, world leaders gathered for former South African President Nelson Mandela's memorial service on Tuesday. Speeches were given. There was even singing and dancing. The event was an all-around beautiful celebration and remembrance of Mandela's life. But some people had to go and make it political. And while President Obama received some criticism for shaking hands with Cuban leader Raúl Castro, Senator Ted Cruz went so far as walking out of the ceremony when it was Castro's turn to speak. Cruz's spokeswoman told ABC News that, quote, Senator Cruz very much hopes that Castro learns the lessons of Nelson Mandela. For decades, Castro has wrongly imprisoned and tortured countless innocents. Just as Mandela was released after 27 years in prison, Castro should finally release his political prisoners. He should hold free elections and once and for all set the Cuban people free. Now, Zach, Cruz's father actually immigrated out of Cuba in the 1950s, and clearly this is a delicate political issue for some people, but was this really the right occasion to take a stand like this?
I mean, Ted Cruz doesn't really pass up opportunities to, let's say, grandstand like this. But obviously, I think this is an issue of emotional significance to him, even though his dad fled the Batista regime, which, of course, the Castro regime replaced in a violent revolution. But the point he makes about political prisoners, I think it's a fairly reasonable point to make. What's the big deal about standing up and making a point internationally that, hey, it's not really cool to jail people for their political beliefs, and people shouldn't do that. I mean, as Ted Cruz, as sort of like obnoxious, egotistical Ted Cruz grandstanding goes, I think this was pretty fine.
Yeah, but it's one. I mean, you could still release this statement and say all that. Did he need to walk out during the speech at the ceremony?
I mean, did we need to shut down the government over repealing Obamacare a couple of months ago? Like, no, he didn't need to do that. But as these sorts of things go, I mean, I feel like the bar with Ted Cruz is pretty low. He's actually saying things that are true and reasonable and making a really ridiculous, grandiose gesture in the process. But he's still saying things that are true and reasonable. He's not saying, Obamacare is going to, going to ruin health insurance in the country forever because it helps people or something. I mean, he's basically being accurate.